Welcome to New World AETERNUM Weekly, episode 28, the May PTU episode. All right. Or PTR. Jesus Christ, I always do that. I am your host, Kai Zen. I'm drinking a bottle of 6 and 20 Carolina Roja whiskey. And we're going to talk about some New World stuff this week. What is going on here? It's showing... Oh, it's doing the wrong thing. All right, here we go. Let's fix the visuals. Good. With us, with me this week, we've got WOLFDRAGON. Say hello to the beautiful people, Wolf, and tell them what you're drinking.
Hello, everyone. Glad you could join us. I was outside mowing the grass earlier, so I'm drinking an Eggenberg Hopfenkönig beer from Austria, not Australia. Apparently, they get upset when you confuse those two.
Yeah, for sure. Although I don't know who would be more. Never mind. We also have. We've got. Okay, his name has now been changed to Stroker Trafficking Swordsmith. Say hello to the beautiful people, Swordsmith, and tell them what you're drinking today.
Hello, y'all. I am drinking a cherry Diet Coke this afternoon now over here on the Pacific Coast.
Oh yeah. All right. And we have from beautiful downtown Phnom Penh, Cambodia, we've got Sovereign. Say hello to the beautiful people, Suv.
I am not drinking anything exciting. I've literally just woken up, so at some point after I've stopped feeling miserable at the world, I'll probably have a coffee.
Hell yeah. You're sounding more Cambodian with every passing day. So, right on. All right, so let's get to it. Let's start off with what we've been doing in New World this week. Now, first off, we should talk about the fact that the April, patch hit, and we downloaded it and played it. It's good fun. It had a lot of bug fixes. It had a lot of quality of life changes, a lot of balance changes. They added in the ability for target heals. They fixed so many different aspects, including some major fixes to the Tempest dungeon, which was added also to the, rotation for the mutators. So let's talk about some changes that happened because it features into my change of the week. I don't want to say nerfed per se, but they did fixes and balance adjustments to both Nashatun, which we refer to as Scylla's husband, and Isabella, the final fight of that dungeon. And also, I think they did a change with regard to the random coffers, the 4 coffers that you have to hunt around to find. I think they just weren't spawning in as much before, and now it seems like we're pretty much 100% in getting all 4. So yeah, I would say with the changes to Nashatun and Scylla or Isabella, I would say it went from a situation where it was challenging for us to do with our full sort of varsity team of people that are all 600 plus gear score. And it was unthinkable for us to bring a carry aboard, somebody who is leveling up their gear. It is now, I would say, easy for our full varsity team, and it is doable, slightly sometimes a stretch, but doable as a 1 carry. And I would say that it went from being Nashatun, Scylla's husband, being the hardest boss in the game, to actually now, I think Isabella is as hard / slightly harder. I think if all things being equal, like there's a variance there, and Nashatun is easier if RNG isn't with you, and harder if it is. But like all things being equal, I would say Nashatoon is actually now the easier fight of the two. By making the adjustments, the final fight, Isabella actually has more RNG ways to screw you. So we've been doing it. We've been running newer people through a lot this week. We've been having fun with that. That's been sort of my big whatever for the week. Let's go around the board and get other people's thoughts on that. How about we start with you, Sue? What you've been doing this week in game, and what have been your experiences with regard to changes that were made in the April patch this last week?
Well, I can't really comment on the changes in the April patch because I haven't because I've been away from the game for too long. Basically, I only played pre-patch like a couple of days before the patch hit, and the changes were too small for it to make a difference to my experience. So I can't really comment on that.
Okay.
The changes the changes that I notice are the difference in the game between what it's like now in broad terms versus what it was like 5 or 6 months ago, because that's the last time I played at any length.
Sure.
So I've been I've been noticing those big changes, and I think one thing in particular, I've definitely been one of the kind of I've definitely been on more of the purist side of the debate between accessibility and kind of not realism, but like I guess like commitment. And when it comes to New World, and that manifests with things like ammunition having weight and being limited, and fast travel being a valuable sort of luxury rather than something that you just do all the time. So I was very much on the side of kind of committing to your decisions, and I didn't want those things to be too easy. So when I read that things like ammunition were going to be when I read that ammunition was losing its weight, and basically you kind of have unlimited ammunition if you don't want the buffs that come with tiered ammunition, I was kind of disappointed. This week it's been interesting because one of the reasons that I really was excited about New World before I played it was that it didn't seem MMO-y. Like one thing that really put me off, this is going to sound ridiculous, but one thing that put me off Elder Scrolls Online when I picked it up is that I started playing with a bow and the ammunition is just unlimited, and I was like, oh, this is annoying. I don't want magic like that. I want decisions to be weighty. I want ammunition to be something that I have to think about, and I love the fact that when they were designing New World, they wanted things like fast travel to be a bit of a limited resource that you have to think about rather than something that you just spam. And this kind of manifested all over the game design, that it was a bit more of a thoughtful, tactical kind of, I don't know, experience than a lot of MMOs that seem to be more about like instant gratification and I guess more arcadey. That said, I have actually been really, really enjoying the fast travel change this week, or since I've been back. Like I've been really, really enjoying the fact that I can just beam around the map whenever I want to see friends and do things. And in the past, it would be fast travel was something that I had to think about more, and losing all my Azoth was a real threat, and I had to really think about it and commit to my decisions. I had to commit to the part of the map that I was questing in, and if I wanted to hang out with friends, I had to commit to where that was going to be. And it is actually really liberating to not have to think like that, and just be able to beam around the map as much as I want, because a combination of leveling on my own and playing with BSL people who are all over the place means that I need to do that quite a lot. I don't think it's perfect yet. I think that the game needs balancing to take into account these changes, like you're near your Azoth cap warning pops up incessantly all the time, and one of the first rules of UI design should be don't tell the players information that they don't need to know. And also the Azoth drops from creatures and missions and stuff haven't been tweaked to reflect the new cost of fast travel. So I don't think we're completely there yet. Like it's sort of there are some more little tweaks to do to make the whole system kind of work and make sense internally. But I've been really enjoying those quality of life changes in a way that I didn't expect I would, which has been interesting.
Okay, very cool. Wolf, how about you?
So I recently got gear score 625 on my DPS gear, and
Woo!
I have been
Congrats.
grabbing umbrals to throw into my sword and shield. Loving the deep root sword as a tanking sword. It is just lovely. Both of those are now 625, and I'm gonna look through my stash of all the duplicates of named weapons that from my DPS set, and of course anything else I grabbed that was 590 plus, I throw it into one of two boxes, and I'm gonna look for something to have as an offhand for tanking. That way I'll have a 625 dual tank setup.
Nice.
So that means I can do tank and I can do DPS, though I much definitely prefer to be the DPS guy that just runs in and smashes everything in the face, because that's my playstyle and I love it. I've been kind of slow burning with the blunderbuss. I don't think it's my thing, but man, is it fun to have from time to time just to go fuck around. Helped out Chaos a bit.
Yes,
you
Chaos
know.
reached 60.
Yes,
Yeah,
you did.
Chaos reached 60 this morning, I think, actually. So that's awesome.
Yep.
But
Hoorah.
just the whole, I'm almost done getting, the real big ups that I've been looking for. There's of course running Tempest like we want to do to make that part of the daily rotation of stuff that we do together in the evening. If I can ever get anything good to drop, I'm sure I'll swap some stuff in and out, but my luck is not as good as your luck, Kai. I think I'm gonna have to get you to make me some trophies after I get the mats gathered up, completed. But I've just been having fun helping people out. I mean, it's a great social game, and great engagement with your friends, and it's as I've been saying before, it's objectively beautiful. Just get out there and go look at stuff.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right, Sword, where you at this week? What you been experiencing?
Well, this week I have started to delve into the realm of tanking with Laz and a little bit of the Siren Queen. I'll try Gen one of these days, but given its propensity to wipe even our groups when we're carrying, I think I'll leave that to the experts Wolf and Kai for now. The other thing I'd like to mention from Kai, your discussion earlier about Scylla's husband, I think now he has become less of a DPS critical boss than Isabella. Isabella, you really need to keep on that DPS to avoid more of those instances where she can triple strike you nowadays.
You're right. You are right. All right. All right. So let's get into the notes. So first off, with regard to the changes from the what do you call it?
PTR.
No, with regard to the changes that were brought in on the April patch, what do people have that they want to sort of discuss about that? Obviously, there were changes made to Tempest. Now we're on a dual, like we no longer have one mutator every week to look at. We have two that we can, sort of go through. There's lots of, there's lots of changes. There were a lot of fixes. There were a lot of things that were made. I'm trying to think of off the top of my head the other, the healing thing obviously was the big change, and there were some changes that were done with regard to certain like iframes and whatever, and those are being continued on with changes to the dodges that we're talking about in the May.
Is this the update that had a suite of changes for the bow?
That's coming. That's the May.
Right.
That's the next
That's in
one.
the that's in the PTR right now, the public test realm right now.
Okay.
I'll jump in first at this.
Sure,
my
sure.
my biggest takeaway with the current that we're playing right now, dodging, little easier for me to make happen when I want to, because with the opals, I'm constantly trying to dodge to get that damage buff. Weapon swapping is a little easier, though I still find myself button mashing a bit to make that happen, but not nearly as much as before. So that's goodness. And I think that weapon swapping is getting another look soon, but don't quote me on that. The biggest one that I've noticed is in Tempest. Of course, with the corruption flame circles that Silas husband throws down, having the RNG fuckery taken out of that so that they all show up at the same time and whatnot. The biggest thing that I noticed, and this is the thing that made me hate that fight, was all of that dungeon is red because it's a giant corruption zone. Corruption is red, and they were doing red on red, but for whatever reason, his circles were a muted shade, and it was very, very, very difficult for me with the type of color blindness that I have to see it. So I'd have to go in, settings, accessibility, select Ptr anomaly, and then I'd be able to do stuff. And it's just another added step. It's like, hang on, guys, I need 15 seconds to do this. When we ran it last night, I left my video looking normal because the game looks weird when I put that filter on for everything, because I know that I don't see the world right, and I know that this looks wrong when I see it that way. It's my own failing, but I was able to see those circles perfectly every time, no longer guessing, okay, where's the edge? If there's the edge, and that means that's the center, and that's what was screwing me over with finding out where to run to, unless follow the gaggle of people. So that was awesome that got done. The fight itself, I think he's just a bit easier to do. I know the corruption cores themselves are a lot easier to break, and it'll be really nice in the next update when the cores won't spawn inside circles, so that you don't have to watch the core timer go down while you can't be in the bad. But yeah, that fight has gotten tremendously fun now. Yeah, there's a huge mechanic where once the circles are happening, you got to get out. But that's to be expected. And now that I can see it just like everybody else can, quote unquote, it took that heartache and frustration out. I definitely think that they need to take a look at Isabella with some of the RNG nonsense that she'll do. To those that have been there, of course, it's the sort of triangular arena, and on the ends of the triangle are the big areas you can stand, and then everywhere else it's either a smaller path to go from the corner to corner, and then everything else is just bad. You step in a puddle and you die. They gotta take out her thing where she's just gonna hang out in a puddle where you just watch and she does attacks and everything takes forever, and it's a level of RNG fuckery that's like, come on, just come over here to the tank that already has hate on you. Go smack them, then we can jump on it and do the things. That they need to look at that part of the dungeon, and then I think Tempest will be quote unquote done and dusted, and it'll be even better and tons more fun than it already is now. I think it is my favorite dungeon out of the whole game.
I strongly agree. I think that the aesthetic is amazing. The cutscenes are fantastic. The story's great. It just has interesting mechanics. It isn't just a sort of linear hallway. There's twists and turns, and there's secret stuff to find, and there's all kinds of neat mechanics and I love every last bit of that dungeon, with the exception of the fact that I'm always annoyed as fuck every time we deal with the Spriggan, just because it's not that he's hard, it's just that he jumps around and just, oh, we're getting to, okay, now we can hit him. Oh, no, he jumped over there. So, oh, run over there. It's like a fat kid playing soccer. Every time you get to where the ball is no longer there. And it's just... It takes a thing that should be a 5-minute fight or a 1-2 minute fight, and it turns it into a 10-minute fight. And it's not even that it's hard; it's just that it's annoying. But like, I think maybe that's a certain aspect of it. All right, I'm going to bring up some of the fixes and things and changes that I want people to sort of hop in on, because I think it's easy for us to, it's like a week goes by and we're like, we don't even think about all of the changes. So, number one. The whole rabbit thing is gone, and now we have the hidden stashes back. I think the market is happy to have all of these extra moats around. Although the first 2 weeks of the rabbit change of the event or whatever, the first week of the rabbit event where we were getting both the elemental animal and the moats was the best. But I think this is a close second. Raffle Bones, I've found him another 2 times. Not a whole hell of a lot, but not at all. I don't know if you guys have had any experiences with that yet. Hop in if you have.
Raffle Bones yet?
All right.
Haven't
seen
had
it
my
twice.
cider.
Okay. The whole not tripping over small flint objects, that's great. I mean, there's nothing worse than hitting your great axe charge and you get stopped by a pebble and you don't get it off. That sucks.
I completely forgot that they fixed that.
Yeah.
I just now push the button for charge and it goes, and like, you know when they change something that you expected it to work that way to begin with, and then all of a sudden it starts working that way to begin with, and you forget that was a frustration? Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Another thing I forgot to mention with regard to the Tempest Heart, it wasn't a problem for us, but I noticed that it was a severe whatever. Man, when we used to split up and half the team would run to the right end of the circle and the other half would go to the left end of the circle and we would kill the little guys, holy shit, that circle goes way smaller. The bubble that you have to kill the priests that are channeling before that bubble gets all the way to the end and murders everybody. We never failed on it, but now it's like we could go and get a sandwich and still we would have time for that bubble. Other notable fixes that I want to hit real quick. We've got stuff like they made sure that all of the AI spawn at the corrupted portal event, so you no longer have dead portals. That's phenomenal. There's the issue of the slight stutter desync when moving and casting spells has been fixed. So, I mean, yes, it's going to be a non-stop for the next year, fixing stutters, desyncs, whatever, but there was a step to make it better. They added in the new perks. On the downside, I have to say this. I was not pleased to see that my Blackguard's weapons did get nerfed. They got changed, and my blunderbuss, the Troublemaker 9000, did lose refreshing move. Instead, it got refreshing. Please, for the love of God, if you're listening, Amazon Game Studios, stop doing that. Test things as much as you want. Once they're put in the game, though, and people buy a weapon or farm to get the weapon, then spend their own umbrals to upgrade that weapon. Do not, after all of that, go in and nerf the weapon that they put time and money into. That's a thing that will piss off your players. There were some changes with regard to various weapons. I will say this. They said in the February patch that they were removing our ability to charge through water, like puddles or whatever. That's still there for me on multiple weapons. I can't say for sure. I have every weapon to 20, but I have not since February picked up all of those weapons. I just did it because I'm a completionist. But I can tell you for sure on the Great Axe and the Hatchet, you still run faster through the water. And I also did test it on the fire staff. It still works. Haven't tested it on the other ones. Let's see. For the economy stuff, they fixed the Azoth Attune bags and the hidden stashes are back. Crafting is fixed, and now since the April patch, they do have the new stuff that drops in Tempest. They can make the Tempest gear, which is good. Other quality of life fixes, switching stuff with like when you have the shield, it now works the way it's supposed to with regard to, it gives you all of the perks even if you sheath it for when you're opening treasure and stuff. You get the luck and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, so that's the most of it. And I just wanted to run through all of that. These were changes that we saw. Yeah, and then the big one is, like I said, now it's 2 what do you call it? Dungeons, 2 mutations a week, which is awesome. That gives people the chance to do more stuff. Let's talk real quick about the new shit in the store. They put a whole bunch of new stuff in the store. It seems to be it's a lunar thing. It's all lunar. So they have a couple new outfits that are lunar themed. Not for me. They have a new tent scheme or theme that's lunar themed that I think is amazing looking. It looks very sort of Mongol yurt type whatever, and I love it. I'm here for it. They had a couple of new emotes. Love it. And they had new weapon skins and stuff from any of the store stuff. Anybody got any comments? Anything you liked? Anything you didn't, etc.?
I'll just mention that if you're looking for a low-key spear skin, the current weapon skin for the spear, the lunar version, is very nice, very low-key, and doesn't look crazy like some of the other stuff they put in.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Anybody else got feels on the skins, the emotes, any of that? Not so much?
I mean, they're kind of fun. I looked at a few of them. I didn't see anything that I wanted to quote unquote buy. I think the skins that they've been putting on the various drops, either the Amazon Prime Gaming, you get the email, you click the thing, or hey, watch Twitch for however long, get those things. Those look really awesome to me. I've looked at the couple of the tent ones that we've had pop up, and like they've been fun, but it's not something that I've really thought that I've wanted. I like the skins of the the generic base skins that you get, because it actually looks like a survivalist camp thing, and as the tier goes up, like you get a cast iron potbelly stove in the tier 5 one. That one's a little okay. Where'd you pull that out of the backpack? But I want to see a corrupted one. Like you had gone through and salvaged a bunch of stuff off of a small corrupted settlement, and now that's the tent that you made. Something a lot less bright and happy and clean. Something dirty and grim.
I think that might be more. That might
really
be
fun to see.
More around Halloween time, something that you see, because for the spring they gave us the flowery one. For the like, this is like Lunar New Year, whatever. We're seeing the very moon whatever one. So I think whatever, we'll see whatever. Me, the weapon skins are very hit and miss for me. The costume skins are very kind of like maybe whatever. I'm more like, and I just checked, we don't have a new one yet to claim. The last one was that Sorcerer Finery pack, which was was fine. I'm waiting on the next one that should be available soon, TM, for Prime Gaming. But yeah. I'm more the emotes and the camp skins for me as a sure thing hit. All right, so let's we covered the store stuff that's out. Now let's get to the meat of the show, the main thing, which is the new Ptr updates. So let's go through and talk about them. Why don't we start off with Sword? Why don't you skim through, give very, very light readings of the updates, and we'll talk about them as we hit them.
So the first and biggest thing that they want to push this coming PTR and that they're really looking for feedback on are the 3v3 arenas and the associated PvP reward track.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have not been on the PTR myself. I have not experienced them. I've watched a couple videos on people who have and think they are very nice. I do think we're going to have to wait for more input and potentially even a live launch to get an actual read on it.
Yep. So with these 3v3 arenas, basically the short of it is this: you click the K button to go into your menu, your player character menu. The PvP tab is to the side. You click on it, and that puts you into the area where you can sign up. You can sign up as a pre-made 3v3 team. You can sign up as a single person, and it'll just throw you in a queue to fill. Obviously, there's no way that people that are pre-made and in voice comms don't have a massive advantage over just randos. I would like to see them change that to give you 2 queue options where it's not just sign up, and if you're one person, it throws you in a rando, and if you're 3 people, it throws you into a pre-made. I would like to see it where you sign up solo or sign up pre-made. This is a small difference, but it's super important, and here's why. If you sign up solo, I would like it to where it only throws you into the pot with other people that are signing up randos. I would like it to where there's 0 chance that it throws you with 2 other random people against a pre-made. I think that that would be a very strong change that they could make going out of the, coming out of the month-long testing of it. I think it's fair if you're talking about 3 randos that don't know each other and don't have voice comms against 3 other randos. I think it's very much not fair if it's pre-made versus randos. The match itself, it's neat. It gives you a little menu. There's levels that you have to sort of rank up through. You start off at, I forget what, like bronze or iron or whatever, and you go to like silver, gold, platinum, star, metal. Each step along the way, it unlocks tiers, rewards. There's very, very cool things that are in there as well that are like as you're going, you collect, it's called Azoth salt. Obviously, it's very cheeky little meme because it's like you're collecting salt in PvP, which is the longest thing where people always say, oh, your tears, the salt from your tears give me power. Amazon Game Studio is having a little fun with it, and so that is the currency that you get for the PvP. As you go through there and you pull from that menu, there's like a little store that's built into, it's not a location it's like a store location, it's just a little store that's built into that menu where you can click and say, I want to spend 300 salt to get some potions. I want to spend 500 salt to get some umbrals. I want to spend 1,000 salt to get some of this thing or that thing, whatever thing. There's little weapons that you can buy that are like good PvP weapons or good good gear. You can buy faction tokens. You can buy all kinds of shit with Azoth salt. That's very, very neat. The match itself, it's best of 5, so it's your 3 versus their 3. It throws you into this little arena ring that kind of looks like it's something out of Starstone. It's got that feel to it of like, it's like gray stone. It's a big octagon, and outside of it, it looks like very like corrupty, darky kind of stuff out there that's like, ooh, spooky, whatever. And it's the pillar itself has an internal little circle that looks like an octagon that looks like a MMA ring. Around that are 2 big square pillars, like massive square pillars, and then around that is the outer octagon of stone that you fight in. The match starts, and it starts with a 2-minute timer. As the match progresses, there's a ring of fire that kind of gradually, slowly shrinks and shrinks and shrinks the arena to where in the end, the pillars are off limits and the only thing that's left is that little octagon in the middle with nowhere to hide. This is meant to help sort of cut down on people kiting forever and making matches last way too fucking long. This is meant to be a very zippy, get in and get out, matches that last 2 minutes, and it's best of 5, so technically you can win if you do matches that last 40 seconds long and you do 3 of them, you can win all 3 matches in around 2 minutes. If you know, sort of, if it goes the full 5, you know, you win 2, they win 2, and then it's best of 5, you know, and they go 2 minutes each, it could literally be 10 minutes. But it's meant to be a zippy, kind of a fun, get in and get out. A lot of the meta basically now is the healer kiting around the pillar while DPS and, you know, range try to stay away from the pillars and take shots at the DPS. DPS try to dance around the pillars until they can engage and get a kill in on the range. It's a neat little meta. I think it's awesome. I think it will be very, very cool. Also, as it continues with regard to, I'd love to see, you know, I don't want to be that guy that it's like, hey, you gave us a new thing and now give us more. But like, honestly, 6 months down the road, a year down the road, I would love to see 3, 4, 5 different arena types, layouts, whatever, with some randomness and some more fun things added to it. You can also get Arena Salt or Azos Salt, PvP Salt, by doing Outpost Rush stuff, by doing open world stuff, flag for PvP. So that, I think, pretty much covers really well the PvP reward track and the arenas itself. Now everybody hop in and let's talk specifically about that stuff before we get into the combat tuning stuff.
Do we know if they're going to use that ranking system for when you're queuing up for OPR?
We do
No
not yet.
information on that yet.
We do not yet.
Because this would be a great way for them to, like, when you have somebody who just gets level 16, they don't have other gear. They go on OPR, and especially if you run into an OPR where you've got, you know, the other side has the 5-man groups that queued up, they're on comms, they just steamroll things. Like, that's not fun. It's quite disheartening. I know a couple people in our play group where it's like, yeah, I don't like OPR because I get face rolled unless I can team up with people who are actually like there to help me and whatnot. I think it would be really great if they had it set up such that as you got higher and higher tier progression, it would want to put those groups of people together. Now, the immediate question that you could get is well, you know, if you're a lower tier, how do you get better? You know, if you want to fight those groups, how do you do it? I would say that they would need to add in a thing for when you opt into OPR as a lower rank. If you want to go against higher ranks, that's a thing you could click and go into. Just something to help make it not quite the leveling cliff or the learning cliff that it is right now. Because until you've got gear, like, you're squishy, and it's no fun to like try and figure out what's going on, and then I'm at the respawn screen again at the fort. Like,
I completely agree with you, Wolf, but here's the big key. Before they can do that, before they can really introduce rankings, and to be fair, this has been said repeatedly on this show already, we need to have cross-server OPR.
oh,
Because
sure.
right now, we're still only queuing up a single OPR at a time in our server.
Well,
and we're the largest in the world.
I do believe that that's where the realm v realm thing that they were talking about is going to come into play, because like for maybe it's just for OPR, maybe maybe they do it for wars, though I don't really see how that could really support cross server play, but especially for OPR, like it used to be that, you know, you would queue up for OPR and it would take you quite a while, and then they did the stuff that made OPR a lot of fun. And I'll admit, like, now that I've got gear and I can, you know, last in a skirmish for a little bit, it's way more fun. But if I was just coming into it completely green, like, it's a pain in the ass to try and run around and do things in OPR to get the 500 points that you need to progress to get that gypsum, if that's all you're after.
100%.
If what you're looking for is to quote unquote get good, if there was a system in place that would help you tailor your engagements a little bit, that I feel would be a lot of goodness.
So you're 100% correct, as is Sword. And yes, they introduced this whole ranking. So your bronze, whatever, your bronze, silver, gold, platinum, star medal, and that's exactly how you do it. That's the ranking. So yes, you should be doing OPRs. Roughly speaking, it doesn't mean that you have to be against, like, it doesn't mean if you do outpost rush and you are bronze that you have to be in an outpost rush with only bronze. But what it should mean is if you're in an outpost rush and your team has 20 star medals, 10 golds, and 10 bronze, the other team should roughly have that. It shouldn't be a team of 20 star medals versus or 30 star medals or whatever, 20 star medals versus 20 bronze. It should be some way of using that. But Swords Point is also entirely correct that the key there is to getting the cross server stuff in there. So they see that, obviously. They have introduced this ranking system. They're using it for the arenas. I very much want to see this arena system go cross-server, and then once they sort of test that out and get that, maybe work out some bugs or whatever, right? Then, because you can have bugs in a 3v3 thing where it's like, oh, it crashed. Okay, you just wasted 6 people's time. Get that fixed and get it to where it doesn't crash and you don't waste 6 people's time, and then bring that into the 30 versus 30 or whatever kind of thing. So yeah, it's great. Let's look for that. Any other thoughts with regard to the 3v3 arenas and the PvP reward track before we move on to the next stuff? All right, hearing none, let's go. Next thing up is combat tuning. In the PTR cycle, they're trying out a handful of combat changes in different areas, and they're updating equip load bonuses to bring heavy armor healers in line with other builds, yada, yada, yada. Basically, the long and the short of it is this. They've changed the way dodging works. You have a second delay after you dodge, before you start rebuilding your stamina back, and that's meant to try to sort of bring the just super silly dodge forever stuff into a little bit more balance. They've they've increased. We didn't know that there was diminishing returns already on stuns, but they've increased those diminishing returns on stuns and roots from starting at 20% and now it's starting at 50%, whereas the max used to be 80% and now it's 100%. So what they're saying there is if you've just been chain stunned or chain rooted like 3 times and somehow by some grace of God you're still alive, you'll like have 100% immunity to stun for several seconds, so that you just cannot be just rooted or stunned there. The adding the second of delay for the stamina, it's sort of these two, like literally the adding in reductions to the stun stuff is like making dodge rolls and dodge, evade players stronger. And then that's so with one hand they giveth, on the other hand they taketh away by putting in this delay. Also, dodging is now allowed when you're rooted. You're not going to move out of the root, but you will get the iframe there. That's an interesting plus. Being slowed will now affect your dodge. So if you are slowed and you go to do the roll dodge, your roll dodge is not going to go as far. So with all of these, it's literally, I just mentioned like 3 things that make dodging stronger and 3 things that makes dodging weaker. And it's very, very interesting because they're not just hitting shit with the Nerf bat and then moving on. They're trying to find a meaningful balance to how the role plays. In addition to that, they're doing massive reworks to the bow to try to bring that up in line, as they talked about on the last dev stream, because they're saying, look, the bow is feeling a little weak right now as opposed to specifically as opposed to casters after they made those changes in the March update with regard to Firestaff, most specifically. That is so all of that are a lot of big combat changes. Another thing that I don't think is even listed here, but it is being experienced by people on the PTR. some of the casting, such as what is the not orb? What is the healer casting? It's not orb, it's not beacon, it's the other one, the Light's Embrace. Light's Embrace now takes a good bit longer to cast, but, and this is massively huge, especially on the tail of the last bit of changes, where you can now target heal by, one-click button. Healers are now able to move while casting. If you go on the PTR right now, while casting Orb of Protection, you can be running. That is a massive, massive change in complexity towards healers. And clearly, that is meant to specifically be paired with this whole arena thing. They don't want healers to basically be a sitting duck while being PvP'd. That is so huge, it changes the whole damn game, in my opinion, specifically with PvP. So let's talk about these, guys. Let's go around the horn. Suv, what do you think about these changes? Uh-oh, I think Suv's
Hi, can I
internet.
jump in with one more?
Yeah, go ahead, Sword.
So one more that they added in, and this also goes into the evasiveness versus combat. They updated the ability of weapons, specifically melee weapons, to home in on moving targets.
Oh yes, they did. That is a huge difference. All right, so Sword, what do you think about these changes? The moving while healing, the buff to bow. I know you are a musket player. Is this maybe making you think about giving it a look? Maybe a little sword bow action?
So
or spear?
Admittedly, I haven't played on the PTR. I'll preface all this with that. From what I've been seeing on the forums and in general, people are liking the changes to the bow initially. It's a lot more fluid, but they caveat all that with the idea that they do not like the 1 second the 1 second stamina regen delay, and I can completely understand that. The key is the 1 second stamina regen delay hits far more than just dodges. We have things like refreshing invasion. A lot of weapons have perks that can only be triggered after a dodge.
Yeah, that's true. Refreshing evasion does work that way. Yep.
Yeah, I've got, for instance, the 300 dex perk is you get a guaranteed crit after your dodge. So my guess is that they're going to that this nerf to dodging will not be anywhere near as severe when it finally comes to live.
Yep. I think that after a month of testing, with the outcry that's on the forums with regard to it as in live, I think what we're going to end up seeing is probably like a half-second delay. I think they're going to split the difference.
Yeah, quarter to a half-second delay, I think, would be very appropriate. Because even after you dodge, I'm just looking at it right now, there is already a slight delay. Because you have to, wait for the bar to come back down to where the new dodge point is, and then it starts to regen.
So that's going to make it, so here's the thing though, with all the changes they made that were positives to dodge, they're going to, if they cut that nerf in half, they're going to have to adjust down some of those positives as well, I think, in order to keep it sort of fair and balanced.
So the main complaint about the dodge, the stamina regen nerf, was not that it was an actual nerf in itself, apart from things like refreshing evasion and so forth, but more that it made the combat feel significantly more clunky, which has been a battle that New World has been fighting for a while.
I think maybe it's interesting. I think the big thing is we all know about it, that there was a significant when they took out the need to do the weapon swap for the dodge roll, it literally did make light players much, much, much more zippy. So they're going to have to do something. I don't like the idea of saying, because on the one hand, if you say, well, you know, hey, the diminishing returns on the stuns and roots, well, then cut that in half. Like, no, because I feel like that is actually a good thing that they should look at, irrelevant of the light dodges. As far as the saying, you know, dodging is allowed while rooted, I don't say to take that out. I don't know, man. It's rough, but there needs to be some kind of other change there. The other thing that we didn't mention, and this is going to be huge, and this again is a specifically healer thing. They are changing they are increasing the penalty for healers in heavy. They have removed the medium buff or whatever, and they are increasing the light or whatever. So they are seemingly very, very hard trying to funnel healers into light. And I gotta say, just from the meta, from everything we've dealt with, when you're trying to run Tempest, having a healer in light is just a fucking no-go. It's just, nope. Hey, I'm 30% better, but I'm dead 80% of the time. It's just still a hard no. I get
it's not just Tempest though. It's any of those, you know, quote unquote top level dungeons where if the healer is not able to take a punch,
yes,
because you know it takes time for, hey, something's on the healer, react, go, you know, grab the hate or just outright kill the thing. Like
I like the idea. I do like the idea of them forcing healers into light. It feels wrong to have, you know, plate mail healer, or, you know, plate healers. Like, that seems more paladin-y. I do like the idea of them forcing healers into light. But if they're going to do it, they have to do a rework of how light works, not with all light gear. You can keep light how it works for you know, fire staff users and ice, you know, ice gauntlet users and void gauntlet users, but you need to then give some significant buff to just how healers are, like, how much sort of how much defense light gear has just for healers, because it just, as what Sword and Wolf were just saying, it literally just doesn't work. To have a healer in tissue paper, like, give them some other, like, give them some other penalty, but make light healers more beefy. Maybe they're a little slow, or maybe they're a little something. Find some balance if you need to balance it, but I just don't think that these changes, or really any changes that Amazon Game Studio can make to healers, is going to effectively funnel them into light gear until or unless Amazon makes some concession for the survivability of them. Otherwise, they just won't do it. Just no matter what, they just won't.
Already making part of that concession, Kai. We already brought up the fact that they can now cast the spells that used to make them immovable.
Yeah.
While moving. And now, admittedly, again, none of us are main healers.
Yeah.
I have my doubts as to whether that will still allow the healer to, say, escape the
spear
ad swarm in
sure
the ad swarm in Genesis once after the caretaker goes down.
Yep. Or the spear from Siren, or the, you know, insert thing here. There are some fights where the healer can just plant in his place and do his thing. But there are some fights, like Neshatun, where the healer's got to be fairly mobile. You just, you know, whatever. But also, not only mobile, but like we had with the mechanics literally last night, where Datron was healing, and he got the burn from Isabella. Then he got the little tentacle thing that went chasing after him. Then he got, immediately after that, she jumped up and did a charge and hit him. So he had the burn, the tentacle, and the charge all at once. and it's like RNG
Yeah, he
Jesus
got
can just
three
fuck
ways
you
to
as a
Sunday
healer.
on that one.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
rough. All right, we gotta keep things moving, so we gotta move along with this. The other thing here, new Expedition Mutators. So return to the depths and face a brand new challenge for endgame rewards. The depths is now part of the weekly Expedition Mutator rotation. In addition, 3 new mutation types have been added to the pool for a total of 27. The new ones are Overgrown, focuses on nature damage and resistance. Overgrown adds effects like Toxic, a pool which tracks down players, and Compost, which turns trash into healing areas for their allies. Barbaric focuses on physical damage, adds Berserk, an Enrage effect, and Shattering, which deals stamina damage. And Fiendish, which is Curses focus on the Nocturnal. Fiendish adds Weary, with all which will weaken players with a rend and make them vulnerable to slow, blood offering, and stacks of damage. So yeah, we're getting the depths now and extra mutators. So we now have 2 a week. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the pool. We've got Laz, Gen, Tempest, Dynasty, and now the depths. Awesome stuff, right, guys?
It'll be interesting.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
The mutator stuff definitely adds a degree of, okay, what do we got to do different, rather than just the vanilla, all right, let's go in and do the same thing that we've always done and just roll these things out. Like,
Oh yeah.
it adds livelihood to these dungeons, which makes them sort of new again.
All right, let's keep this moving. We've got the other changes, episode 2 of the Varangian Knights stuff. Continuing story, the Varangian Knights and their conquest for power. Players will encounter 4 new Varangian enemies in this episode. The Crusher, Spearman, Hound, and Mage. Episode 2, starting quest is granted by Abigail Rose. Just outside the new Varangian camp. At the Sorcerer's Delve in Everfall, recommended for players level 25 to 30. I will point out that episode 1 of the Varangian story was in the like 17 to 20 range or 22 range. This is 25 to 30. I think that this is building up to an interesting sort of story stuff that is going to turn into, you know, by episode 4 or 5, it'll be level 60 stuff. It'll be level cap stuff, and I'm super, super excited for it. Player selected pronouns. A player selected pronoun will now be reflected in the chat. For instance, when using an emote, preferred pronoun will be considered and displayed. I don't give a fuck about this, but people who do, awesome. Congrats. All right, so Varangian Knights and pronouns. Guys, hop in. Let's start with Suf. What do you think?
I haven't yet played the Varangian Knights. I haven't come into contact with them. I haven't seen them as enemies either. I think it's because I've been busy getting as close as I can to 60, basically. Or everything I've been doing in the game is leveling and trying to get up there with you guys so that I can hold my own in the end game content. At some point, I do want to go back and experience it because I'm really interested to see what post-launch brand new enemies look like for Amazon.
Awesome. Okay. Wolf, Sword.
I really liked the first episode of the Varangian Knights. When that came out, I was in the leveling climb, and that bag you get out of it was super nice, if I'm remembering that correctly. Who knows what we're going to get out of it, but it did add a unique little story. You do have to go a little off the beaten path to get to where the camps are, which is, you know, kind of intentional. But really, really interesting little developing side story. I think that they're going to have a lot of fun making, and we're going to have a lot of fun experiencing.
Right on.
Completely agree.
Beautiful. General combat and AI changes. They updated the focus 300 attribute bonus. It no longer grants mana regen. Instead, it grants a flat 8 mana per second for the duration of the effect. I don't know how that's not regen, but like, all right. looks cool. The stun duration change that we talked about, the diminishing returns, they reduced the physical armor increase from 200 con attribute bonus from 20% to 10%. Updated the 200 con attribute bonus tooltip to indicate the bonus is physical armor specifically. Functionality has not been changed. They've just explained it better. They added the delay for the stamina that we talked about. Removed collision for players at death door. Updated various AoE weapon ability tooltips to include radius information. That is awesome. It's not changing how anything works. They're just giving you better information to decide, and you can look at it, empirically. Updated various weapons ability tooltips to include stagger and knockdown effects. Fixed an issue when ranged weapons did not display ammo type to count correctly while obstructed. Reduced the stamina damage increase from the 150 strength attribute bonus from 50% down to 25%. So what we're seeing here is a list of things where there's been a little bit of nerf to sort of melee and bruisers to the big heavy strength con builds. Reduce the stamina damage increase from 150 strength attribute bonus from 50% to 25%. Again, we're seeing some bruisers being brought into line. Reduce stamina damage increase from 150 strength attribute from 50% to 25%, and limited the bonus to just light attacks and not heavies. Updated equip load healing bonus to be multiplicative. Now all the healing bonuses from equip load, positive and negative, will be added on after all other calculations have been made, meaning it will have a larger and more consistent impact on healing. That's interesting. Again, they're pushing very hard to funnel healers into lighter armor. Remove medium equip load healing bonus and increase the reduction to healing at the heavy. Healing bonuses are equip load are now light plus 30%, medium 0, heavy minus 30%. That's a 60% swing. They are pushing so hard. And I get it, and I agree with them that they should push hard, but they need to make a little bit of a concession to healer survival. I don't play healer, but I just feel that they need to make a concession to healer survivability, because all the healers that I know say, fuck you, I'm not moving until you make it to where I can live. Weapon coatings are no longer removed from weapons when gathering resources. Melee attack homing. The melee thing that we talked about, and then there's a whole list of bug fixes, all kinds of little stuff. AI will no longer randomly disappear when running away from a player. This happened on extremely rare occasions. Fixed bugs where enemy banes. I'm not going to go through all of these little AI fixes or whatever. General fixed an issue allowing certain expedition bosses to improperly regenerate their health after a player is put to death's door. Fix an issue where expedition bosses could sometimes target players outside the arena. That was hilarious. We had that happen last night with what's her name. Datron died and she targeted him outside, and it was like, what the hell?
That's awesome.
Scared yourself into the wall. It's like, all right, that's cute.
Yeah.
That helps us.
Yeah. Fixed an issue causing Chartist to sometimes target the same player repeatedly with his beam attack. That's the thing where whoever the first one through, right now as it stands, first one through the portal is constantly the one that gets beamed. Threat is completely irrelevant. So they're saying that end of May they'll fix that and the tank will properly have healing again. They've got Tempest issues, Dynasty fixes, Depths fixes, lots of different fixes. Boss AI in invasions are no longer impacted by gravity well. That sucks. But I don't do invasions anymore, so who cares? Bunches of changes to Outpost Rush. Consumables now have a max stack size of 100, was 10. Increase the quantity of items granted from gathering trees, ores, and rawhide resources will be gathered by an extra 30%. Brittany, I'm sure, will be happy for that. Added armories to each fort spawn. That's super cool. Tuned capture pointing timing minimum is now 10 seconds, was 30. Wow, that's going to be huge in quick capping, especially back capping and a contested sun. Holy shit, that's going to change the entire feel of Outpost Rush. Reduce the skinning experience granted by Outpost Rush wolves. Oh, sad day. Players can now shoot projectiles through their spawn doors, their own spawn doors, not others. Players can now
that would really help. with camping.
Players now get credit for kills inflicted by damage over time attacks. Whoa, I know that's going to make Sword happy. The Outpost Rush resources counter will now correctly reset after the match is completed. They've made multiple changes to war. Multiple, a long list of changes to perks. Go through the, we're going to have put the notes here. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to post it in the notes for anybody who's watching live. There, you got to go through that perk list and see what is important to you, because lots of perks are changing, a whole wall of them. Fix an issue where debug string was presenting the ancient ward potion status effect. Fix an issue where cleansing elixir was not properly. Okay. Dodges roots. We talked about all that. Ice shower, ice storm, and Gravwell will no longer disable dodging. We did explain that you're not going to move out of them. You're just going to get that iframe. They made a series of additions or adjustments to the blunderbuss, to the bow, to the fire staff, great axe, hatchet. I think the big thing here, and we're not going to go through and read these word by word because that'll take you an hour and a half. But the fact of the matter is they seem to be, number one, nerfing a good bit the meta of bruisers, the hammer, axe, great axe bruisers. Strength and con builds are being nerfed a good chunk. They're changing stuff around with healer and trying to funnel them into lighter gear a lot. And there seems to be, and obviously they're making a big push to try to make bow more viable. So real quick, because we're over time, let's go around and what do people think about that? Anybody got feels?
These are all really good.
My feel about the meta has been, and this has been this is probably more because I've been away from the game, but I still feel it having come back. The meta has always been slightly in favour of strength con builds, and the fact that if they're making a big push to try and rebalance in favour of other builds, that feels overdue to me, because when I came back, I thought that I was surprised that hammer and great axe and strength con builds in general, I was surprised by how dominant those still were, if that makes sense.
Especially lately, there's been a strong meta with great axe or hammer, great axe specifically, great axe and ice gauntlet. You pair those up and just use the shower and the Gravwell to just hold somebody in spot. Lately, I'm telling you right now, emerging on the PTR is the dominance, the absolute dominance of one-shot blunderbuss builds that are just killing everything. So
that's cool.
Be aware that that's going to need to be fixed, because anything that's a one-shot build, they have to figure out a way to remove that. The whole point of a combat game is to give players agency. If you attack me and I do everything right, I should have some way to live. Maybe not to beat you, but to at least to live. And anything that has Alpha Strike, just whether it's the chain stun and you're dead, or a one-shot Alpha Strike build, anything that can kill you immediately and you have no way to outplay it, that's a bad feel.
Yeah.
That's a bad feel.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. I want to hit one last thing. This is a thing that is not in any of these patch notes, but it is on the PTR. You need to know it. That is this. At the Gypsum Kilns that currently just make gypsum, now there's a new thing where you can use those gypsum kilns to make craft mods. And some craft mods that are being used for certain builds are mahoosively expensive. And the way those craft mods are being made at the Gypsum Kiln is taking other craft mods, some of which are dirt cheap. Like, there are some craft mods that cost you thousands, and then other craft mods in that sort of same build level or whatever will cost you could buy them for a penny on the market board. The way that this works is you need several of the craft mod that you have and 20 vials of suspended Azoth to make the craft mod that you want.
Wow.
Let me just point out, this patch is not mentioned anywhere or this change is not mentioned anywhere on these notes. It is not mentioned even it's not anything. However, on this server right now, who does not have this change on Pluto, I just checked an hour ago, and the price of Azoth water has bounced back from, it was at one point a high of like $50 an Azoth water, vial of suspended Azoth. Sorry, not Azoth water, vial of suspended Azoth. It was $50 for a vial of suspended Azoth, and then through all the changes they made, it got less and less expensive, until the change they made that basically made fast travel free, and then it dropped down to as low as like $1.50, $2 for a vial of suspended Azoth a week ago. Now that the PTR is out, as of in the last 3 days, it's jumped back up to $12 a pop. So, boys, suspended Azoth, it's back, baby. If
hold
you
on to those.
Yep, because you can expect that is going to continue to climb for a bit. Obviously, I'm not giving financial advice. You figure it out for yourself, and maybe it'll backfire. Maybe people will just use their stockpiles, because I personally have hundreds, and I know many people have stockpiled. But let's just say that maybe I, when it was super, super cheap, bought a few tens of thousands of them and have them sitting right now in mountain homes. So, yeah, this is good. Let's bring it, baby. What do you guys think? What do you think?
Interesting. I love that they've done that.
I love that I could take I've got a whole bunch of craft mods that don't sell. Maybe, just maybe, they'll sell now. Or I can take it upon myself to generate some of the more high-selling craft mods and make money that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the current highest cost craft mod is the Weaponsmith's Star Metal Charm, which gives a refreshing move, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
I know I sold the one I had for $6,000 last week.
Nice.
Ah, damn.
Yeah.
I just got a vial of suspended Azoth right this moment.
Yep. You know what I like? I like that New World AETERNUM Weekly brings you this news before the patch notes do. So if you watch us live or get it early, download the podcast early, you get to make some moves on the market.
Is it possible to convert your Azoth into vials of suspended Azoth?
No. That would be cool. That would be a neat thing. That would be a neat thing, but no. As speaking as someone who was always at 1,000 out of 1,000, that would be cool.
Yeah.
It
would be really, really good, and it would address what I mentioned earlier about the
obnoxious
the game not
notice.
And also just generally in terms of quest rewards and Azoth generation, it would address the imbalance and the fact that there's now kind of an oversupply of Azoth in terms of like player activity and stuff.
If they do put in a method to turn your Azoth in your pocket into a vial of suspended Azoth, I request that they have the machine from The Princess Bride that's in the Pit of Despair.
I think they'll probably be more likely to just use the Gypsum Kilns, but you get Meber points for that, for sure. All right, let's go around the horn. We're already over on time for the show. Let's go around the horn, give everybody a chance to sum up any last thoughts that they have, anything they want to add, anything they're looking forward to, and then we'll say goodnight. Let's start with Suv. What you got, brother?
I am a quarter of the way through level 58. I fucking love this game. I'm loving every minute in it, and I'm super excited that the next time we do this show, I will be level 60.
Right on. I am 625 on like 4 different gear sets, and I feel the same way. I'm excited that you'll be level 60. Super excited for the changes. I think I strongly agree with Amazon Game Studios slightly nerfing various areas of bruisers and strength con builds. I strongly agree with their desire to push healers into light gear, but before they do that, they do need to make some concession for survivability. Otherwise, it will never work, guys. Sword, what do you think?
I'm looking forward to these changes.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Wolf.
Every time they sit down and decide, all right, we're going to do some balancing stuff, quality of life things, and then we're going to put new stuff in, and then we're going to go back and look at it. It's the fact that they're going back to look at things and try to shape the game into what they want, while at the same time listening to player feedback and making things that are the big suck either go away, suck less, or just suck differently. It shows that the dev team is engaged and they want to give us a product that is simultaneously what we want and what they want, and 2 thumbs up to them for it.
Let me just add that if a politician were to come out with the campaign slogan "Suck differently," I don't care who it is, I'd vote for him. All right, we love you, everybody. Oh, go ahead.
They really fucking care. Like, it's really obvious that they care a lot.
Hell yeah.
They think about it a lot.
That's refreshing as opposed to some other companies. All right, we love you all. Good night.
Bye.